if you see, you will have almost for every MBA application, there is an essay that you need to write about the career goals that you have in the short term, both in the short term as well as the long term. And why it is important is because it does tell the school about where you're coming from and where you want to go in the future. How do we really set and go ahead with setting our career goals, as a part of the application? What usually is done by applicants is that they will go through the placement reports and they will choose the career goals which have the or which come across as the highest packages or the highest placements by percentage of the class in the placement reports for the school. But is that what the school also wants to hear from you? Absolutely not. They want you to choose your career goals with thorough research, planning, as well as put in ample homework for the same. So there are around seven career pathways that you can expect in terms of functional transitions or in terms of functional goals when you are planning to apply to a B school. And over here there is some research that is very interesting, and this is totally about the road to being a CEO. There has been research which shows us that of the F100 CEOs researched in 2019, I guess. So they 25% of them they began their careers in an operational role. Finance was the second with around 22%, of the CEOs having a career background in finance. Engineering being 17%, sales and marketing 13%. And interestingly, the management and the consulting roles were only 3% of the of the whole lot that became CEOs at the F100 companies. So, what is it exactly that you want to achieve in the long term? Now, once you look at your long term, when you are going to an MBA program in the for the 1 year MBA programs, you would most likely want to become a CEO or a CFO or maybe an entrepreneur or lead your own startup. So it is very important, first of all, to set the right expectations. And an MBA program, it prepares you for career transitions. So your resume must speak the language that you want to present to the recruiters. Does it do that? So does your resume need to do that, just right away before applying to the MBA program? Yes, because most of the programs that you will be applying for will be of a duration of 10 months to 15 months to 18 months. That is a very short period of duration to actually override the whole of the background of, the work experience that you have till date. So what an MBA will help you do is to build on top of what you have already achieved. And that is why your resume must speak the language that you want to present to the recruiters even after your MBA is complete. So that is why the recruiters, they want to look at what you have gained in your past work experience. They will also want to look into what you have gained during the MBA program. Don't overwrite or don't ignore what you have done till date. You need to find the transferable skills. You need to be able to relate your past to the future goals and build on it during the MBA program as well. So that is what will lead you to the ideal career goal for you, practically as well as on paper. Let's start with the most coveted and the first one in the series. This is the consulting roles. So what type of consulting roles do you have on when you join the MBA programs? You have the MBBs. There's no description that is required for them. Then you have consulting companies which do recruit for the general management and strategy consulting functions. And there are consulting companies which specialize in accounting, finance, as well as technology categories. Consulting companies also specialize in HR consulting. There will be private equity consulting, non-profit consulting categories, impact consulting, as well as the consulting firms which are focused on particular industries like the healthcare, energy, and financial services. So when you want to shift to the consulting industry post your MBA, it is very important for you to really place yourself in any of these categories. Just the MBBs or just saying that we want to become a management consultant is probably not enough. Do you have engineering experience or do you have healthcare experience? Then you could be a better fit in some other firm and then probably build on towards that as a specialist. So what is the career path like? If we go to the consulting career path, we see that there are different types of roles which are offered, especially post MBA as well as pre MBA. The pre MBA roles would be for undergraduates, and these will be more or less oriented towards data collection and analysis and creating client presentations as well as supporting the client deliverables. However, when you are looking at the post MBA consulting roles, you will be involved in roles which will be, more towards identifying issues, forming hypotheses, formulating recommendations. So for a McKinsey, this role might be an associate role. For a BCG or a Bain, this role might be called a consultant role. So these are mostly the post MBA roles that you will be offered once you are graduating from an MBA program. Going forward, what are other growth paths that you have in the consulting, the career path itself? Once you start from the manager role, so you join as consultants or associates, then you proceed towards being managers. So managers, they manage a team of consultants. They do have specific domain expertise, and they are also involved in the employee development as well as BD roles. And at McKinsey, at different firms, you will have different names for these roles, like engagement managers, project leaders, or managers itself. Then going forward, after 3 to 4 years of being into the consulting industry, you can also look at roles like the junior partner. So when you become a junior partner, you are involved in multiple projects. And again, these roles are called, by different designations across companies. Now, why I am touching upon the designations part is that when you mention in terms of your roles that you want to get into a consulting and you want to become an engagement manager or you want to become a partner, you need to be able to define as to where in your career path you are. So, for example, you have currently around 2 to 3 years of work experience, and you mentioned that you want to become a partner in the short term. So, partner in the short term means in 3 to 4 years. Usually, a partner role comes to you in 6 years post MBA. So, be realistic when you're talking about your MBA goals. If it is consulting, go and research you need to research the consulting, the job descriptions. What do the consultants do you actually like doing that at all? What in your previous skill sets does relate to what the consultants do? So none of the pre MBA roles, specifically largely in terms of the engineering or the backgrounds that most of the pre-MBA roles that people join these programs from, they are directly related to consulting. But there would be certain takeaways from your previous skill sets which will align you towards the consulting career path. That means, do you have you been involved in problem solving? Have you been involved in identifying issues, and have you been involved in client interactions as to formulating recommendations from them? If yes, then these are parallel skills which you do bring to the consulting career path, and you can identify with that and then build forward on that during the MBA program going towards the consulting career path. Coming to the next, the second career goal that we'll be talking about today, that is product management. So product management roles, if you look at the job descriptions very closely, these require technical skills most of the times. And there would be industry related specializations. So these roles will be of two types. One would be the ones that require generic technical skills. There would be another category of roles which would also require some related experience, like a banking experience or healthcare experience or the biotech experience, for example. What roles are offered post MBA? So post MBA, you could be offered an associate product management manager role or an associate product marketing manager role. At what level in your career you are, that will be very important for you to be able to decide that yes, whether you look at it post MBA or you look at it in the short term. If it is in the short term, then you need to have a clear path as to how you will get there. Again, short term is not enough. We also need to look at the long term. So once we look at the long term career goal, that means that we are also looking at a career progression. So what do product managers do? How does their career grow? They, from the associate product manager, you go on to becoming a product manager, then a senior product manager. Now the requirement for becoming a senior product manager is usually around 4 to 5 years of product management experience. So wherever, with what experience, what technical experience you are joining the MBA program, you can actually align yourself very realistically as to where in product management do you see yourself in the short term as well as in the long term. A next very important career goal and a pathway where a lot of MBA graduates come from is from the analytics stream. So for somebody who's coming from the analytics stream, what are the career pathways that you can look at, which will relate you to more towards the analytics roles? Those would be being project managers or data science leads. You could also become managers analytics, as well as you could look at consulting roles in analytics. So once you are coming from analytics background, you can look at what all diversified interests you have, and accordingly choose the goals that you would have in the short term as well as the long term. If you do feel that yes, you have good technical analytics skills and you want to continue with the stream, there is nothing wrong with it. There are ample post MBA roles which are offered for the analytics professionals as well. So coming to the fourth category is the strategy roles. So strategy roles are offered by there is a strategy consulting role which is offered, which we already discussed in the consulting roles section. And now, if we look at the strategy roles across the board in terms of corporates, conglomerates, and startups, you can have different types of strategy roles at different levels in your career. So you have the management trainee roles, you have the rotational programs which will also prepare you for strategy roles. You will have business strategy and strategic partnership roles, which will again be offered, which are offered by startups and conglomerates at a lot of programs. And there are options of the executive assistant to the director or the CEO or the CEO, the chief operating officer. So you will have multiple strategic roles which come across post an MBA program, which will also be very interesting. So you can keep your options open. You can also research all of these job descriptions, try and go back to your work experience, see what are the skills that translate and relate with these roles, and then plan your career transition accordingly. Another category, which is the marketing roles. So the marketing roles are ample, and the marketing function is a very proactively sought function, at the MBA programs. So if you have the knack for marketing, you should go for these roles, because these will actually prepare you for a very strong transition as well, to from being from sales to marketing. So what type of marketing roles can you look at? A customer success manager is one. Account managers, key account managers, engagement managers, these are another type of marketing roles that are presented across industries. So you will have these roles coming from the technology, the IT sector, as well as the conglomerates, or even the corporate sector or the startups. And strategic marketing roles, or the marketing strategy roles, again a very important role, a very interesting role, which will help you take charge of the marketing strategy for the whole company, or the for a whole region, for example. Then there are some new roles which are the pre-sales and the solutioning roles. So these roles are also very interesting. You actually interact with the clients. You actually look into what their business processes are like. You try and identify areas where your organization, your solutions can actually, help them improve their processes. So these are all marketing roles which are very valuable for a career growth. For people who have a knack for marketing, they should actually look into these very seriously. So operations, we saw earlier that a lot of CEOs, a large percentage of the CEOs come from the operations roles or the operational roles in organizations. Again, these roles are the functional roles that we're talking about, not the industry specific roles. So what do operations roles look like? If you think you have a good knack for operations, you can look at roles like program management, being an operations manager, supply chain management. You can get into project management, being a delivery manager, and marketing operations is again a mix of marketing as well as operations, though it is largely an operations role, and e-commerce managers. So e-commerce companies, they hire they hire from the top P schools for people who can handle their operations very smoothly. So these are the roles that you can seek in the operations stream as well. So coming to the finance stream. So finance stream is again something that is very typical. It is again a role, again a stream which is again coming largely at the B schools. Then what type of roles do you look at when you're coming from a finance team? You can look at the corporate finance roles like being a CFO, the financial planning and analysis roles, or the M&A roles at corporates. Then there are fintechs and the BFSI industry, which is hiring from the B schools, which is they hire for the domain specific or the business consultant roles. And there are investment banking firms which are hiring for their analyst roles. So analyst as well as associate roles. So these are three broad sections. Again, as the industry is diversifying, the roles also keep on changing. But once you are coming from a finance background, you can actually, you know, be more clearer in terms of what you want to do post MBA. Is it corporate finance? Is it going into a domain specific or a fintech organization that you want to go to, or do you want to go into PE or investment banking? So accordingly, you need to look at the roles and decide as to the short term and the long term career trajectory that you will have. So at the end of this discussion, what is most important is that when you're researching your career goal, everybody reads the placement reports, they check the average salaries. What is more important is that you should work on identifying the fit. So if there is a post MBA goal that you are very keen on transitioning to, then the most likely path of achieving that, which is something that the AdCom will also look into it, which is something that the recruiter will finally be looking into as well, will be how you have prepared for the role. So while you are preparing for your MBA application, don't just put your roles on paper. Do get to working on that pathway as to how you will get there effectively. For example, I had a question beforehand, which talked about that you have prior experience in the technology products for the defense sector, and you want to go to the consulting industry. So if that is something that you want to do, then how have you prepared for going to the consulting industry? One, have you identified the transferable skills? Second, do you have the requisite skills? So the consulting industry today will definitely be looking for skills in data analytics. They will definitely be looking at skills in data visualization. So how have you prepared for all of these skills and upgraded yourself? Yes, the MBA program will have a contribution to put into, the MBA program will prepare you for the functional roles. Remember, you will have classes, you will have case studies, you will have a lot of interaction on the on understanding the functional aspects of management. But again, when you are planning to move to a certain role, then it becomes extremely important for you to be able to, very clearly outline that path and also show your preparation, discuss your preparation the same. So in case there are any more questions, feel free to